What is up, everybody? My name is Andrew, and welcome back to Space Engineers Survival 2025. This is episode number 60, and last episode we had a bit of a crazy technical one where we ended up building this auto farming machine. It's really an auto harvesting machine, and off camera I painted it a little bit, and it has kind of the colors of John Deere, which I know is a farming company. Now I know they've had some controversy in the past, so if you hate John Deere, then I'm sorry about that, but it's the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking of a farming company with colors. So we have this John Deere looking auto farmer right here. It's also got like a little red light that shows where it's aiming, which I think is kind of cool. And then it works as intended. But there's one thing that it doesn't do, and that is auto planting after it harvests. It can go ahead and auto harvest all of this. In fact, that's no problem. If I press this button, you'll see what it does. So we'll press it right there. It'll go through, and very slowly it'll run through the entire length of this track, harvesting anything that's ready to be harvested, which in this case is everything that we planted at the end of last episode. So we'll let that go through and harvest. But look, it's not planted anything. Well, I got a new mod that allows us to go ahead and auto plant things as well. It's called planting automation. And the way it works is essentially, once something is harvested, what you can do is you can have an ejector essentially eject a seed onto the farm plot. And then what'll happen is it'll plant it automatically if it can. So that's what we're gonna try and do. This mod is a little bit complicated. It doesn't make it super easy to plant things, but if I have seeds in this machine and have some sort of way for it to eject a seed onto each plot, it should, in theory, be able to plant them. So yeah, we're gonna do that in this episode. We're also going to make a couple more modifications to the Manta Ray so that it holds some more stuff, and we're going to go and grab more ice. And for that, I have a second mod, which I'll talk about a little bit later, called radio spectrometry, which is one that I've talked about in a previous episode, but we are going to try using that mod. Why does it look like something is on fire over here? Is there? Oh no, okay, it's just the friction of this wheel causing a little bit of a smoke effect right there. It's probably doing the same on this side. Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, let's make that change to the auto farmer here. We'll do that first, and then we'll go out and we'll grab some ice. Ow. Okay, there's definitely not a lot of room in here, but we're gonna make that change right here if we can. Actually, you know what? While there's nothing in here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go through and remove this, and I'm gonna refactor this just a little bit so that we have a little bit more room to work back here. All right, this is kind of what I'm envisioning, just a little area back here that we can use to kind of work on this stuff if we want to. And I think that's gonna help us out a little bit, being able to get back here and do this. So what I'm gonna do is up here, I'm just gonna put, I think probably steel plate blocks is gonna be fine. Right there, 2, 3, oh, I just need 2 actually. I think I'm just gonna do some half blocks right here so that we have a little bit more room even than just this one block. Okay, so now with this room, we can actually start working on this thing right here. So essentially what I'm gonna want is I'm gonna wanna drop a seed, probably, I mean, I could put it right here. That would be kind of actually dead center. So let's do that. Let's grab our little connectors here, and we're gonna place them like this. So we're gonna have one right there. We're gonna have one right there. We're gonna have one right here, and we're gonna have one right there. Oops, one right there, perfect. So those are gonna be our connectors. Then we're going to have also a sorter for each of these. So a little sorter for that one, a little sorter for that one, a sorter for that one, and a sorter for that one. And finally, we're gonna connect this all up to our connectors up there. So the sorters essentially are gonna pull all of the seeds of one type into this thing. So this will be full of seeds. Now, I don't wanna just pull all the seeds into the machine itself, because then it'll pull all the seeds on the grid. I just wanna fill up like one of these things with seeds. So at all times, it'll be trying to do that. And then this is going to turn on and off with a timer. So let me grab a timer as well. We'll say each one of these is going to have a timer block associated with it, which is going to determine how long it's going to wait to deposit a seed. So it's going to wait, this length of time, deposit a seed, and this might require some tweaking, but the goal is to have it deposit a seed at each one of these things right here. So that's what we're going to do, because I don't think there's an easier way to do it. Or we could also do whenever this harvests something, it deposits a seed as well. I don't know if there's here, let me build an event controller real quick. All right, event controller, what do you have? Okay, yeah, looking at these, I don't think we have an easy one. Really what I would want is I would want it to, whenever this guy right here pulls up a seed, I would want this one to also drop a seed at the same time. But I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna rely on timer blocks, and it's gonna be fine. So whenever this disconnects, it's going to start the timer blocks. Maybe I'll have one more timer block actually, and this timer block will act as the buffer. So when this disconnects, we'll have a buffer time, and then that buffer time should last until it's directly over this, and then it'll start the timer blocks to start dropping their things. I think that'll be good. And then essentially how this is gonna happen is whenever this turns back, these are gonna turn off, so it's gonna stop dropping these, which is gonna be good. And then any seeds that are left over, for instance, if we drop too many seeds or something like that, are gonna get sucked right back up by our collectors. So I think this plan is foolproof, and there's no way that it could possibly go wrong. So let's try this. Let's go ahead and build a little conveyor system here. So this is gonna connect all the way back up to that. All right, there we go. There are our little ejectors that are gonna replant our seeds. So let me go in here real quick and rename everything to make sure it's all looking good. Okay, when I'm setting up these timers right here, I'm pretty sure the mod that adds the automated planting actually added this drop item one as well, which only drops one item from the timer, or from the connector. So I think that's gonna help us out a lot. Let me go into my sorters and make sure they're pulling everything. So they're all set with their seed here. We got fruit seeds on this one, we've got grain seeds on this one, even though we don't have any grain. We've got mushroom spores, and we've got vegetable seeds here. So what we'll do is we'll do drain all. So they're gonna start draining into their connector. This one's not gonna do anything because this one is the grain one, but this one should give us a little bit. Yeah, we have 3. Oh, I don't know if we have 3, but we have some amount of seeds there. We can check. Yeah, we have 30 fruit seeds in there. What about this one right here? We have 25 vegetable seeds in this one, and we have 30 mushroom spores in that one. So not bad at all. We do have a pretty decent amount of stuff there. So now what I wanna do is so the harvester disconnected timer, we're gonna put the delay on there so that the delay is going to start. And then the harvester reverse timer, I want to turn off my eject timer right here. That's what I'm gonna turn off. So we're gonna go ahead and stop that timer right there. So it's gonna eject all the way up to the reverse. And when it hits the reverse, it's gonna stop ejecting. And then all it's gonna do is it's gonna have this collector right here pulling up any seed that hasn't been properly planted in the farm by the mod. All right, so the way we have this set up right now is we have a 2-second delay, then it's gonna start every 1 second, it's gonna drop a seed. So let's go ahead and try that and see if that works as intended. 1, 2, there we go, it's dropping. I think it's gonna be dropping a little bit too soon, but you see right there, yeah, it's planting successfully. Yeah, the 1 second is definitely too soon. Let me run through here, Control Z on this, so I'm relative. Let me run through here and let me go to my eject, and let's try a 2-second timer instead of 1. Oh, I can't even. Okay, we'll have to come back to it and see if we can reset that and try that again. Let me see. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's a little bit less than 3. It's gonna be like 2.5 is what we probably want to set that timer to. So you can still hear the ticking. I'm gonna make sure the ticking stops after this. But you'll see we have a bunch of these on the ground. Actually, you know what? We might not even have to collect them again because we do have the build and repair stuff that's collecting them. And perfect. Okay, the ticking is stopped. That's what I was looking out for. All right, so the 2-second delay is probably not enough. And then in addition to that, we probably want 2.5 seconds for the planting thing. All right, we're gonna let this come back here. Let's do a quick little time lapse as it comes back. Here we go. And we are back. There we go. By the way, I think I cut it out of last video while I was editing, but just in case any of you are wondering how we are connecting to this once we get back, we just have a timer block, or an event controller block rather, that says if you can connect, go ahead and connect, because that is one option for the event controller. See this one right here, this can connect. We have a connector ready / idle, and then all we do is we tell it to connect. So in the actions right here, we can go ahead and tell it to lock. So if you're trying to do something like that, that's how you do it. It's not very difficult. It's an option inside the event controller. All right, let's go ahead and tweak these. So the delay we're gonna set to 3 seconds, and then the eject we're gonna set to 2.5 seconds, and that should be good. Now we might need a little bit more than that, I'm not sure, but we're gonna go ahead and try that. And in fact, what I can do just to test it is let's go over here and set up we're gonna set up our grain sorter to, instead of pulling grain seeds, we're gonna go ahead and pull more fruit seeds, I think. Now, actually, it's entirely possible that that didn't pull any fruit seeds because we don't have any left. So let me just go ahead and put these inside this one right here. There we go. And let's give this another try. See if our timers are working properly. 1, 2, 3. It should start ejecting right here. There's 1, 1, 2, 2.5. Okay, it's a little bit. It maybe needs to be a little bit longer. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think it needs to be probably 2.7 instead of 2.5. See, ejector right there. Yeah, so see, this one was in the middle, and this one was a little bit to the right of the middle. So we want them ideally to be in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, in the same point on each of these. But regardless, what that's gonna give us is it's gonna give us a bunch of fruit seeds planted on this one as well, where we don't even have the grain to plant. So this is fine. Oh, we have a bit of a hiccup right here. This is actually having a little bit of trouble turning around properly. It's trying to go, but it's being stuck somehow. Maybe I can help it along by pushing it. Ugh. There we go. That actually did help. I'm surprised it did, but yeah. Wait, can you only set a timer? I could have sworn you could set timers to like a delay of like half a second, but it looks like this is only an integer instead of a decimal value. That's not ideal, but I set it to 2.7, so I don't know. Maybe it'll figure itself out. Okay, regardless, let's go ahead and get some power here real quick. Then I want to start on the next part of this. Actually, there's one other thing that I wanted to do. Maybe I won't do it now because I need all the seeds to be harvested to do this. I wanted to create a second door in here so that I didn't have to actually go around all the time, but I think we're gonna be fine with that right now. I really don't want to kill all of our plants in one fell swoop, but what we really are gonna need is going to be water. So, actually, that was pressurized, right? Yeah, okay. I had to make sure because planting all those plants, they would die if it wasn't pressurized. All right, let's head back this way. And we're gonna go and modify the Manta Ray a little bit more to carry more seeds. Then we'll name this little mining ship that we created 2 episodes ago. And then finally, we're gonna use the radio spectrometry mod, which we've added in this episode, to go and get more ice. I think this is gonna be a substantial modification here, but we're gonna go ahead and make it anyway, because I really want this ship to be able to carry a lot in terms of ice. So we're gonna make this modification to turn this into a cargo ship where it'll be able to hold its own. Here, okay, all this stuff we're gonna take, yoink. We're gonna put in here for now, unyoink. All right, this right here I think is gonna be a perfect spot for a cargo container. Okay, we're gonna be throwing a giant cargo container right here. And don't worry, we're gonna find a way to integrate this a little bit better than it might be right now. Okay, the build and repair is gonna help us out there a little bit. I almost do wish we could find a better way to integrate this even, but I think this should be okay. I'm trying to find the best way to integrate this large cargo container into the ship. And currently I'm taking out a couple of these engines down here and seeing if I can maybe find a way to put it in down there. Because that would probably be the easiest way to do it. So you're connecting all the way up to something over here. Oh, the weapon right there. So I could remove those if I wanted to replace that connection just by going through the cargo container itself. That wouldn't be a bad idea. So that would involve putting the cargo container right here. So this inset refill station would have to go. That's fine. We can deal with that. Then all this stuff would have to go as well. And I just need to make sure I reconnect all these connections. I think this is gonna work out a little bit better than how I was planning on doing it just then. Okay, I think I like this. Then you're gonna go right there again, because we don't need that block right there. And finally, we can stick in our block. Put this right here as well. So there we go. There's gonna be our large industrial cargo container. Let's go ahead and build that up. There we go. We got a little assist from the build vision guy, or the build and repair guys. Thank you very much. And then all the way up here where I was thinking of doing this design thing that I don't even know what I was doing, to be honest, right here. But all this is going to connect. Where were you coming from? I don't know where you were coming from or going. Maybe you were going this way. We're gonna do something a little different because that's ugly. I'm gonna put our parachute hatch right there. I want to keep the parachute hatch because I know that if this thing ever goes back down to the planet, it's gonna need it. All right, it's taken a second, but we're getting there. I just need to get this bit right here filled in so that we don't have any depressurization zones. So there's 1, 2. Let's right click both of those, get those built up. Perfect. And then we have another little area right here where we can actually fly into here by accident that we need to replace. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll get the outside in just a second. We're gonna replace the inside for now. Now, unfortunately, these large cargo containers don't pressurize properly. So we're gonna need to find a way to pressurize. So I think what we're gonna do is let's remove that and let's remove, yeah, we don't have one right there already. So I'm gonna take the same block that I've been using in those other areas and flip it on its head right there and do something like that. So we'll grab 2 of these or more. And something like that should do pretty nicely. Flip that around on this side as well. And we should have pressurization here, almost. I just need to put something there. So I will put a lockers there. There we go. So we have lockers right there. We should now have full pressurization in here. If I'm just looking around to see if we're missing anything. And we are pressurized now. So we see O2. So O2 is high and temperature is warm. There we go. In addition to that, we do now have 2 large cargo containers, which have 1.27 million liters instead of 46,000 liters that the smalls have. So here, I'll show that to you here. If I go Manta cargo, we can see that the smalls have 46,000 and then, yeah, 1.27 million liters, which is, I don't know how many times, it's like 20 times the size of a small, rather. More than that even. Okay, now that we have that set up, I'm gonna go ahead and depressurize everything. Let's make sure that the top looks nice. So I think probably we need to add in a couple blocks over here just to match the other side. There we go. That doesn't actually look half bad. I think that looks a lot better than what it looked like there a second ago. So this is not, I mean, you do see a little bit of the cargo container right there, but I think it's gonna be okay. And then on this side, you probably see the same bit of cargo container. This is still connected, although, no, it's not. It is not connected. Let me go ahead and remove this. All right, the top of the ship is looking pretty good, and now I think it's about time to go on a bit of an ice expedition. Oh, I think, no, we're not missing one of those. It just looks like we were. Oh, that's a really weird, that's a strange look from above. But anyways, in order to use the new mod that we have, which is called radio spectrometry, we need to put an ore detector somewhere on the ship that has an unobstructed view forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this block right here, and remove that one, that's fine. And we're gonna put the ore detector right there. Remove one more actually. Here we go, we're gonna put that block right there, and then the ore detector is gonna go on it just like this. And the ore detector needs to have an unobstructed view forward, like that. Okay, so ore detector, can I put a camera? I guess we already have a camera right there, so the ore detector will be seeing pretty much what the camera will be seeing. Okay, and then right here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. It's fine, some blocks are gonna fall, but I'm okay with that because they'll be picked up by the build and repair dudes. All right, there we go. We have our ore detector right there on our ship, so we should now be able to use the radio spectrometry mod. So let's go ahead and get ready to take off, and we'll do that in just a second. Actually, first we need to get this ship loaded on board. And by the way, I asked 2 episodes ago when we built this ship what we should name it, and some of you gave me really good suggestions, and one of the good suggestions that I really liked was the tardigrade, which is a little tiny animal. I believe that lives in water or something. It might even be microscopic, but it's very, very durable. And yeah, so we're gonna call this the tardigrade. This is our little tardigrade mining ship, and it's gonna be a very durable one. It's gonna be able to get us all the ice we ever need. All right, let's press number 7, take off a little bit, and start going. We're gonna go this way. Actually, let's go this way. We're gonna get ourselves in position to connect to this, but before connecting, we're gonna go into info and call this the tardigrade. Call it the tardigrade mining ship. I think that makes a little bit of sense. Okay, let's press number 7, and perfect. All right, with that, we can now get on board the Manta Ray and get ready to use our radio spectrometry mod to find some asteroids that contain ice. So here we are in our cockpit. Let's go ahead and disconnect from our connector there. There we go. There is our disconnect. We're gonna have to turn on our stuff though. So let's press number 8 or number 9 or one of them. Actually, I think we have to do this in a specific order. So first let's trigger our timer to turn on everything. And then let's go into here and disconnect our connector. There we go. We can unlock right there. It's a little tricky. Oh no, when we unlocked it, it actually triggered that. So let's press number 8 again to trigger our... Oh, we have no hydrogen. Oh, we're floating away as well. Oh, that's not good. Do we have any ice on board? Nope, we do not. All right, that is not ideal. All right, let's put some emergency ion thrusters on board the ship so that we can actually maneuver a little bit because we have done a mistake. One right there, another one facing the front. And in fact, these should be enough that we can actually just maneuver our way back to that connector. This is a little tricky, but I think we should be able to maneuver our way back up here. Just this way. Yep, that should be the connection right there if we can make it. Let's see. It's a little bit of a weird angle, but I think we might need another, yeah, we might need another ion thruster pointing down to let us go up. All right, what did we learn? Well, we learned that we need to make sure that we have actual hydrogen on board our ship before we disconnect. Otherwise, we're going to drift off into space. But luckily, it's not that bad of a problem because we're so close to our base, we were able to create these ion thrusters that could act as emergency ion thrusters. What I also need to do is I need to throw all my connectors down here. There we go, perfect. Okay, we had to turn the snowstorm tanks off, or the SolarStorm tanks off of stockpile, but now we're able to get a full charge on this ship right here. Let me go ahead and press this timer as well here real quick to turn off my thrusters because it was starting to act a little bit weird. But here we go, let's get a full charge, and then we should be good to go. And perfect, all right, let's go ahead and press number 8. Let's press number 3 to disconnect, and we can finally go with everything full charged and all of that. And we still have our ion thrusters on here, but I'm totally fine with that. All right, we're gonna start by looking at this guy right here. So the way the radio spectrometry mod works is essentially you go into your cockpit or something like that. You go to maybe like top or large display right there. And then I believe it's an app. So we have radio spectrometry reader right here. And the way this works is you first aim at an asteroid. That's kind of aimed at an asteroid, right? How does this work? Let me see. Maybe that asteroid just doesn't have anything because I'm aiming directly at it. But essentially what's supposed to happen is that on this screen, we're supposed to see some spikes wherever there are ores. Oh, you know what? I just looked it up and it looks like the new ore detectors don't count the same way. So the old ore detectors need to be facing an asteroid, but the new ones, it's not the front like that. That's the front. It's one of the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the old one just for simplicity here. Let's go grab an ore detector and plop this down right here. So this should work. Let's see if that's the case. Oh, wait, hang on, we got something. Okay, we just have to kind of scan around for it, but it looks like, so it's not like an easy thing where it just tells you which ores are there, but it gives you these little spikes, and essentially, I believe each ore has 3 little lines. You see those little lines under the spikes? And if all 3 of those lines, okay, we lost the asteroid here for a second. We have to look around again for a second here. Give it a little bit. It's a little tricky. There we go, we got it again. So if all 3 of those lines have a spike on the graph above, that means that that thing has this ore. So I'm looking at the ice one down below and none of them have a spike. So that means that it doesn't have any ice, but it does maybe have stone. No, we lost it again. Anyways, what we can easily tell though is that it doesn't have ice. So let's go try this one again real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and aim at it and see if we can find, yeah, I do actually see an ore on there now that I'm looking at it. Let's look down here. We're interested in ice. I can tell it doesn't have any ice, but we do see iron on there. So let me make sure that we're using this correctly. No, it's showing that it doesn't have any iron either. Let's go toward this asteroid a little bit. Yeah, you see iron right there, right? Yes, okay, so now I can actually see that it does indeed have iron. And ice, it might... No, I don't see 2 spikes for ice, so it doesn't have ice, but it has stone, it has iron. Okay, so this one doesn't have any ice. So let's move on to our next asteroid then. And this is quite a cool little mod that adds that ability to, just to kind of look at an asteroid and easily see what it's got on it. Let's go ahead and look at this one and see if this one has ice. I do see something yellow on it. Turn our dampeners on, make sure those are going. Let's look at this. Does it have ice? Maybe. No, not quite. It doesn't quite have ice, but it probably has nickel. Let me look at that. Yeah, it's got nickel on it. Oh, I'm actually noticing something different. Maybe there's an asteroid behind it that it's also reading. It is reading something with silver, but not ice still. Okay. Well, let's look at a different asteroid. Let's look at that one right there. All right, how about you? Do you have any ice on you? Close. It almost looks like it does, but it doesn't quite. Yeah, I've been checking a lot of asteroids here, but I'm not seeing anything other than, ores. I'm still checking though. Eventually we're gonna find one here. This one, when it shows silver like this and only silver, I think it hasn't detected the asteroid properly. It seems to show that just when it's looking into space, but let's make sure that we're detecting this asteroid properly by aiming at it a little bit more, like that. Yeah, that's still not showing ice. It is showing something it's showing uranium on this one, it looks like. So that could be valuable, but I don't think it's valuable for me right now. Oh, that actually looks like ice right there. Let's see if it registers on our spectrograph, so we know what ice looks like. Give it a second to refresh here as we aim at that. I'll aim one more time to make sure that we're aiming the right way here. There we go. Yeah, that is showing ice. You can see we have the 2 spikes there at the bottom for the ice, and then on the left side for the ice, we have spikes there as well. We're also seeing that we have, what is that? Magnesium on there? And then I think that's all. So there should be ice and magnesium on this asteroid that's directly in front of us. So let's start heading toward this guy, and we'll claim all the ice from this little asteroid. And hopefully this will be a little bit closer, or even a lot closer than the other asteroid that we were going to, which was 20 kilometers away. All right, here we are. We're gonna have a fun time trying to find out where that ice was. It's somewhere on this middle asteroid right here, but it could be inside it. I'm not sure. We saw a little bit of the magnesium, but that's all we can see. Okay, we're coming around from on this side here real quick. We need to slow down, and we only have most of our thrusters in the back, so it takes us a second to slow down. But the ice should be somewhere in there. Let's have a little look here. See if we can spot any of it. No, not spotting any of it so easily like that. But I do see a little bit of that magnesium down there. Let's move in a little closer. We do have a big ore detector, so we should be able to see that ice as soon as we get, you know, relatively close to this asteroid. Magnesium, ice. There we go. Okay, we're seeing that ice all the way over here at the other side of this asteroid here. Let's come around here. Oh, you know what? Our upper... Yeah, look at that. Our upper thrusters aren't even connected somehow. Let me go ahead and take out my multi-tool here and click on this. Yeah, our entire upper section here is not connected. How is that possible? What did we do? Okay, this is how we'll fix it. We're just gonna connect it right here. There we go. So that should have this side connected. Yes, it does. This side right here needs to be connected as well. And currently we don't have an easy way to do that. Well, we might. It would just be above this one as well. So let's go into here real quick. And let's see if there's an easy connection. There is. Perfect. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna build a proper conveyor, I think. Let me see if I have stuff on board here. No, not quite. We have most of it. We just don't have the small steel tubes. We have an assembler on here though, so let me see if I can produce some small steel tubes. Not quite, but we do have a bunch of other components. Let me go into production and disassemble a couple of these, and we should be able to make small steel tubes with the proceeds from that. There we go. That should be good. And then back up here, there's that connection. So that should be everything connected. It is indeed awesome. That's what we want to see. Okay, let's turn this around, place that right there. And we are here. So this ice, the other thing I wanted to try is it looks like we don't actually have a lot of easy, we don't have a lot of visibility with lights. So let me go ahead and put a light on that right there. And I'll put another light on, I think that was on one behind this. So I'll put one right there as well. And let's see if I can build those up, because if I can, that's gonna help us out a little bit with seeing. Okay, we're only missing the bulletproof glass, but I don't think that's a required component in order to see with it. So there we go. Now we have some light facing forward that we can use to spot this stuff. Okay, let's hop back in the ship. And the ice is over there. Actually, I'm gonna do some manual scouting around to see if there's an easy access to the ice. I don't think there is. I think we're gonna have to, well, hold thine tongue. Nope. Nope, never mind. Loose thine tongue again. It looks like the ice is gotta be inside the rock. So we'll have to actually mine to get to that. All right, Tardigrade, the newly named ship. Let's go on a little mission. So let's press number 7 to disconnect. Now we have plenty of light. And let's get in here with our drills and start getting a little bit of this stuff. So we have plenty of storage now on board the Manta Ray, which means we should be able to get all of this ice without a problem. And let's go ahead and turn on our stone ejectors because we don't want to collect any stone while we're here. Although if we do, it'll just get processed into ores, but honestly, we probably don't need it anyway right now. So let's just get the ice because that's the most important thing. Okay, let's get a full trip. Let's bring it back and we're gonna get as much of this as we can. I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, there's one trip right there. Actually, I think maybe this might be the easiest place to connect. I'm just looking at it. Let's go ahead and connect right there. And as long as the ship doesn't move, we shouldn't get toasted by these thrusters. Oh, I broke something. What did I break? An ion thruster. Oh no. Should be fine. So I think, you know what? I think that that connector is used for parking. So let's go ahead and connect in one of these instead so we don't break things. There we go. There's our connection. Let's go ahead and run through here and add everything to our large cargo container. So everything hide empty, show only on the ship. Perfect. And let's go ahead and throw all this stuff in there. And one large cargo container should be able to hold all of this as opposed to before where it was spread between a bunch of smalls. And that is like 1/10 of the way full, maybe 1/9 of the way full. That's crazy how much these can store. Okay, let's see if I can fix this real quick while we're here. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until we get back home. But let's see, right click. I highly doubt we're gonna have the thruster components. But yeah, okay, we don't have the thruster components. It's fine. Let's get back to it and let's keep mining. Oh wow, I thought I was actually getting low on ice in there, but no, there's plenty left. All right, that's another load. Boom, crash into that just for the fun of it. Okay, let's connect and deposit. All right, we're at 870,000 ice. Pretty good. Let's keep going. We still have some ice left. Actually, we still have a bunch of ice left. Let's keep going. And just like that, we're over 1 million kilograms of ice, but there's more ice to get, so let's keep going. Okay, it looks like our little ore hole here, or our little ice hole here has dried up, but we have another one over there that our ore detector is pointing out, so let's go ahead and mine our way toward that. Yeah, sure enough, there is a little bit more ice over here, so let's go ahead and collect. And this one, it looks like is exposed from the surface, so maybe we can bring our ship around. Never mind, the ice over here wasn't worth much more than a single trip, so let's go ahead and take what we can get and bring it back to the main ship, and we'll search the asteroid for any more pockets of ice. Ow! Sorry. I probably should have blueprinted this thing at one point, but anyway, it's probably fine. Let's bring this back to the ship and reevaluate. I'm gonna go ahead and right-click mine as I do this so that we remove any block that's gonna cause us any problem. So we're gonna go fly a little close to the other asteroids in this little area and see if we can spot any more ice around us. And if we can, we'll be in luck. But yeah, there are some asteroids over here that we can fly near. Ah, we are able to find a little bit more ice. Very nice. Okay, let's move over towards this ice. Oh, that's a big patch of ice. Oh, very nice. Wow, that's a lot of ice. Okay, let's move into a position where we can easily connect and disconnect our ship in the back. Very good. I think this is perfect. And let's get out there and get more ice. Oh, it's beautiful. This is how much ice I was looking for. This is what we needed. Okay, let's get as much of this stuff as possible again and try and fill up a couple of our large tanks. Our large cargos. Okay, we have 2.4 million ice here. We've almost filled up one of our large cargo containers. Maybe we'll only fill one up because I think I've been mining for like 30 minutes at this point. But we've got more ice to get, so let's get more ice. You know, so far we keep damaging this ship. It's not really living up to its tardigrade name, is it? Although it is, I will say, it's indestructible in that if something gets destroyed, I'll repair it. But stuff will fall off. Stuff will get destroyed. That's how it seems, at least. All right, I'm losing track of how many trips this is, but here is another one. I think we're absolutely full on this one. Yeah, we are. Our drills were entirely full. Let's go large, and let's start depositing. Still not full, but it's getting there. That's 3 million ice. All right, probably one more trip, and then we'll head back to base, because I think that'll be one full container, and I don't think I'm gonna fill up both of them. We need probably a bigger, even mining ship than the tardigrade, or to have a prototech drill on this thing to fill up one of these. Otherwise, I'll be out here for an hour collecting ice, which maybe I'll do off camera. I'll put some, something on and go collect a bunch of ice and then put it in a time lapse or something in the next episode, but we'll see. Depends how much time I have on my hands. All right, last trip, and this one should be the entire, one entire large tank full. So let's see if that is the case. Yes, all right, we got one of our tanks absolutely full, and it's carrying 3.4 million kilograms of ice. So I'll go to my other large container here. Yeah, my large cargo container right there. And you know what? Maybe I'll do one more trip of ice. Why not? Just for old time's sake. Get a little bit more ice while we're at it. Might as well. We're here, right? Okay, we'll let that be our last bit of ice. Let's go ahead and reconnect to our ship, which is somewhere right there. Yes. Okay, that'll be our last bit of ice. We'll probably come back again off camera and do a little time lapse of all the ice we collect. If I find that I have time between today and tomorrow when I record the next episode. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and connect this back to our ship. We'll connect it the proper way so that we don't get it, shot off or anything while we're flying. And then once we connect this, we should be good to go. So this will be the other cargo container, a little bit full, but not nearly as full as it could be. So let's go ahead and press number I. Let's go large. And let's hide empty and then start putting this stuff in there. Do we have any more that you can take? No. All right, perfect. This is plenty of ice, and let's go ahead and head back to the main base. And someone said that the 20 kilometers that I flew to get to the other ice last episode, they would probably use the jump drive that I have on the ship in order to go that distance. And I think probably that's a good idea. So let's go ahead and go up a little bit so that we get away from this asteroid. Then let's aim ourselves toward our trade HQ, which is off to our right. And we're gonna jump drive our way over there. I think we have a jump drive, might as well use it, right? This is kind of gonna cut it close, but whatever. It'll be good, it'll be fine. All right, here we go. Jumping right onto our trade HQ. Here we go. Zoom. And yeah, that actually worked pretty well. All right, thank you, jump drive. That's all. Let's come in for landing and attach ourselves to this thing. You know what? I think I might as well connect using the bottom connector because that's the one that's configured as like a parking connector, and that'll make leaving easier next time we want to leave. So let's go ahead and do that instead. I'm just gonna connect just like this. If it works, which I think it should. We should have the room. And then this one is ready to connect. So there we go. That's now connected. It still hasn't turned off our thrusters, so I'm gonna have to do it manually with number 9 here. There we go. Our ions are still gonna be firing, so we need to go and turn off our ions. I'm just gonna go this way so that we can use the standard way to exit without, you know, depressurizing the entire ship. There we go. We'll go ahead and close that. And then these guys we can get rid of. Otherwise, you see, they're gonna go wild trying to keep us in place, whereas we don't really need that to happen. So there we go, perfect. And we might have one more, but I think it's fine. I don't know where it is if we do. Maybe on the front? No, oh yeah, we do. But it's not even firing, it's fine. Okay, anyways, we are back. We have plenty of ice. Let's go ahead and search for ice on the ship, and we'll see that our irrigation systems are absolutely full with the max ice. Actually, that's not the max they can have, but they are full. And then if I go even down, one of these should have all of our ice. Yeah, okay, it's still all inside the large Manta Ray thing, but we have so much ice we don't know what to do with it. Well, I know what to do with it. We're gonna be using it for this farm. So the last thing we're gonna do before we end this episode, after getting all that ice, is going back into the farm, hitting the harvester and seeing if it harvests and plants at the same time, because that's the entire goal, right? Of having a harvester that can do both jobs. So let's go in here and let's go and try it out. Let's give it a go. All right, you guys ready to see this? Harvester. We have all these plants ready, so let's go ahead and hit the button. Now, we might not have a crazy number of plants that it can use, but there we go. It's dropped one. Okay, it's gonna be dropping a little bit too soon, I'm thinking. Yeah, it's gonna drop multiple, but it's fine. Now, I've turned off build and repair, so that's probably not gonna get grabbed by build and repair, but it should be grabbed by the harvester itself when it comes back. So we are gonna have a couple extras, but I'm totally okay with it as long as we do collect those again. So let's just keep an eye on those being there. And unfortunately, it's not gonna get everything, just because we don't have enough seeds on the base. But what I can do after this is I can run it again once we have some of these converted into seeds as well. So yeah, you see, we've already run out of vegetable seeds. Mushroom spores, though, we just have plenty of. There we go. And it's run out. So let's wait for it. Let's make sure it doesn't crash here, because remember it got stuck here last time. So let's see if it goes all the way back. Auto farmer. Let's see. And perfect. Okay, it is able to make it all the way back. So let's let it go all the way back. And once it deposits all these seeds, which if we go over here and Control Z on it so that we stay in front of it, we can check to see how many it has. Hide empty. Wow. Oh man, it's got 89 fruit plus 25 fruit, because we had fruit on 2 sides. It's got a whole lot of mushrooms. I can put them all together actually. Wow. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. All right, perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. Okay. Well, let's let this connect. We'll give it a second so that the food processor is able to turn stuff into seeds, and we'll be good to go. All right, there's our connection. So all of our seeds are going to go into the food processor, which is going to get to work on turning a couple of those into seeds. So let's give it a second to turn all that stuff into seeds, and we'll be right back as we wait. Maybe I need like a couple more food processors over here to turn stuff into seeds as well. I think that'd be a good idea, but I don't want to place it right now because I would go ahead and probably depressurize the entire thing. But look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful to see. 51,000 ice in each of these. Oh man, I love it. All right, 12 minutes later, we finally have a couple seeds inside our seed thing, and we have a bunch of mushrooms that are ready to be harvested. So let's go ahead and press the button just for the mushrooms here. It's gonna give us our little delay there. It's not gonna harvest these, although it is gonna try to plant them because we don't have any smart system. It's a dumb system that just drops the thing. It doesn't look to see if it needs to drop a thing. But anyway, yeah, this is good. Okay, we ran out on that middle track. Let's see if we run out on this right side track. Ooh, yeah, we don't quite get all of them with this. If we wanted to, we'd have to move this up a little bit further and then put the stop right here, which wouldn't be too difficult, but I think I'm okay with this. We have mostly a full thing of plants at this point, which is good. This should pick that up. Let's make sure. Zoop. Zoop. It doesn't pick it up. I don't know why it doesn't pick that up. I think it's not close enough. Yeah, I think the collector's not close enough to collect this block, unfortunately, these fruit seeds, which kind of sucks, but I guess as a backup, we do, of course, have the build and repair, which will collect them for us if we turn it on. The only other option we have would be to lower everything a little bit so that it's actually like a lot closer, but I don't know that I want to do that. Anyways, that's going to be that, and that's going to be the end of this episode as well. We had a fun one where we adjusted this to actually automatically farm, do everything automatically, which it does, sort of. I mean, I still press a button. I could just as easily create a timer, but I don't know if I'm going to end up doing that, because the way this mod works for the planting is there has to be a player within like 3,000 blocks of it to actually plant properly. So and that's because of how their API works for modding. The only way to actually plant a crop apparently is for a player to do it. So what they do with the mod to work around is when there's something on top of a plot, they shift it to the closest player's inventory and then immediately plant it. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, if I'm not here, essentially it doesn't work. So a player does have to be around for this to work, which means I'll probably be sitting in this couch for a very long time. But anyways, that's gonna be the end of this one. I really hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. Please put any comments and suggestions down in the comments section below. And if you're not subscribed by episode number 60 and you're new, hit the subscribe button down below as well for notifications for when videos go live and stuff like that. If you'd like to become a YouTube member or a Patreon, there are links below in the description where you can access those for some nice perks like getting early access to videos, getting your name in the end credits right here, and even in some of the tiers getting a shout out at the end of the video. So the people we're gonna shout out at the end of this one are Tyler Hedstrom, Colin Graves, and Relos. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you everyone who's watching these for your support as well. It really does mean a lot. And with that, that ship looks bizarre. With that, I will see you all in the next episode of Space Engineers Survival.